Here are the top stories for today, November 18, 2021. Take heed and back off. The country's top diplomat fumes over the Chinese Coast Guard's usage of water cannons against 2 Filipino supply boats en route to the Ayungin Shoal earlier this week. The government allots up to 2 million COVID-19 vaccine doses for booster shots of healthcare workers in a bid to beef up their protection while caring for COVID-19 patients. The Commission on Elections rejects the bid of some 126 party groups to join next year's polls as it races against time to complete the list of candidates to appear in the official poll ballots. And off to a fresh start, another set of beneficiaries are set to return this time to Negros Oriental through the Balik Probinsya Bagong Pag-asa program. Good day, I am William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. The Philippine government has expressed outrage after 3 Chinese Coast Guard vessels blocked and water cannoned 2 Filipino supply boats that were on the way to Ayungin Shoal this week. The incident happened on November 16 while the 2 boats were about to transport food supplies to military personnel. No one was hurt, but the boats had to abort their resupply mission. Foreign Affairs Secretary Teodoro Locsin Jr. has conveyed the government's protest to Chinese Ambassador to the Philippines Wang Xilian and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Beijing. Locsin said that China has no law enforcement rights in and around these areas. He added that this failure to exercise self-restraint threatens the special relationship between the Philippines and China. Locsin said the Philippine government would continue to provide supplies to its troops in Ayungin Shoal. Malacanang backed the DFA's move, saying the Duterte administration will continue defending the country's sovereignty. Acting presidential spokesperson and cabinet secretary Carlo Nograles lauded the agency's swift action in condemning the incident. Ayungin Shoal is located about 105 nautical miles off Palawan, Philippines, well within the country's 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone. COVID-19 testing czar Vince Dizon remains to be part of the Duterte administration and is busy helping in the fight against the dreaded disease. Acting presidential spokesperson and cabinet secretary Carlo Noglares denied reports that Dizon has joined the campaign team of presidential aspirant and Manila Mayor Francisco Isko Moreno Dumagoso. The reports came after Dizon resigned as President and Chief Executive Officer of the Basis and Conversion Development Authority on October 15. Nograles, however, clarified that Dizon stays as one of the frontrunners in the Duterte administration's anti-coronavirus efforts. He added that Dizon has no time to engage in any political activities related to the 2022 elections. Apart from being the administration's point person in the testing drive against COVID-19, Dizon also concurrently serves as the Chief Deputy Implementer of the National Task Force against COVID-19. Metro Manila is on track in keeping infections under control as it noted a negative COVID-19 growth rate within 7 days. In a Twitter post, Octa reported negative 7% growth rate with 379 cases down from 407. Reproduction number is at 0.5, positivity rate is at 3%. Octa Professor Guido David says that with such a low positivity rate, NCR is projected to improve to 2% this week. David reminds the public to still continue to adhere to minimum health protocols. The Philippines has administered over 71 million doses of coronavirus vaccines nationwide, with 32.2 million Filipinos are now fully protected against the severe risks of COVID-19. National Task Force Against COVID-19 Chief Implementer Secretary Carlito Galvez Jr. expressed confidence that the government will be able to fully inoculate at least half of the country's target population by end of the month. He said the proposed 3-day national vaccination drive, which will be done from November 29 to December 1st, will help the country sustain or even increase the current vaccination pace. The Philippines received a total of 128 million doses of government-procured and donated COVID-19 vaccines. Galvez said there will be more vaccines that are slated to arrive until December. The government has set aside up to 2 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines for the third dose vaccination of fully inoculated healthcare workers nationwide. National Task Force Against COVID-19 Chief Implementer Secretary Carlito Galvez Jr. said the government is targeting to give booster shots to healthcare workers by end of this month. This is to ensure that medical frontliners will get strong protection against the infection once the cases will spike again. Meanwhile, Health Secretary Francisco Duque III assured that the administration of booster shots to the general public will eventually happen. Galvez welcomed on Wednesday the arrival of 3.5 million doses of government-procured Sinovac vaccines. The government is also crafting separate guidelines for the administration of booster shots to senior citizens, the immunocompromised, and persons with comorbidities. Galvez said the government targets to launch the booster shots by next week or before December 2021, the earliest being next week, and the latest is on the National Vaccination Days. The National Vaccination Days are set from November 29 to December 1. Galvez made an assurance that supply is enough to cover the 3 priority sectors for booster doses. Another batch of the Balik Probinsya Bagong Pag-asa program beneficiaries are all set to go back to their home province on Friday morning. A total of 5 families consisting of 24 individuals underwent the dispatch procedure at the BP2 depot in Agham Road in Quezon City on Thursday. After they register upon arrival, the beneficiaries were given orientation on the BP2 program. They were also informed of their flight details going to Negros Oriental the following day. Immediately after the swab tests, the beneficiaries were ushered to their sleeping quarters where they will stay until they leave for their flight. The beneficiaries expressed gratitude to the national government for helping them go back to their province.
Malaking pasalamat ko po sa gobyerno na nakabuo nitong programang ito dahil marami talaga matutulungan ito lalo na sa mga nahihirapan. Hindi lang talaga ako, palagay ko mas marami pa. Siguro hindi lang siguro na tawag nito na disseminate mabuti sa mga lalo na sa mga nasa mga tawag niya mga squatters area or sa mga nahihirapan walang social media. So sana mapalagaan na para marami talaga nangangailangan gustong-gusto nang umuwi sa probinsya at walang paraan na walang way na makauwi kasi walang pera, walang pamasahe.
Still to come, the Commission on Elections junks the applications of 126 party list groups to join next year's polls. And establishments are reminded to follow health protocols to keep the economy open amid the pandemic. Details ahead, keep it here on the PNA Newsroom.
Kung customer ka, pupuntahan mo ba yung mukhang safe naman o yung certified na safe? Ang safety seal ay patunay na certified safe ang iyong business dahil nasusunod ang minimum public health standards. Meron din itong QR code para mapadali ang contact tracing. Ito ay libre lang. Pero, kailangang i-renew every 6 months or every year kung nasa tourism sector ang iyong business. Kung meron ka ng mga documents na ito, pwede ka na mag-apply para sa Safety Seal Certification. May iba-ibang office para sa iba't ibang klase ng mga negosyo. Pag na-determine nyo na ang issuing authority, simple lang ang steps para makuha ang safety seal. Pumunta sa office ng issuing authority o sa kanilang website. Kumuha ng safety seal checklist at magsagawa ng self-assessment para sa iyong business. I-submit ang checklist at abangan ang inspection schedule. Pag na-approve ang application, bibigyan kayo ng safety seal sticker. Pag hindi naman na-approve, sasabihin kung anong health standard ang hindi nasunod at bibigyan kayo ng pagkakataong ayusin ito. Pag nakuha na ang safety seal, ipaskil ito sa may entrance para makita agad ng mga customer. Pwede nyo rin ipagmalaki na certified safe kayo sa inyong mga social media pages. Paalala lamang, ang isang safety seal ay para sa isang branch lang. Siguraduhin bawat branch mo ay certified safe. Siguraduhin din na nasusunod palagi ang minimum public health standards dahil baka mabawi ang iyong certification. Maaring mag-operate kahit na walang safety seal. Pero hindi ba mas mahalagang kampante ang mga customer sa loob ng iyong negosyo? Kaya kumuha na ng safety seal para ingat-angat tayong lahat.
The Commission on Elections, or Comelec, has rejected 126 groups bidding to register as party lists for the 2022 national and local elections. Commissioner Rowena Guanzon on Wednesday, however, said more than 100 applicants filed a motion for reconsideration. Guanzon said the Comelec has to resolve the matter by December 6 in time for the printing of the ballots. During the filing period from October 1 to 8, a total of 270 party list groups filed their certificates of nomination and acceptance to participate in the party list system of representation. 53 new party list groups were granted registration. The Comelec has so far accredited 171 registered party list groups running for the May 9 elections. More Filipinos have already received their national ID cards. These are being delivered through the Philippine Postal Corporation. More on this from Marita Mawahe.
More Ilonggos have already received their national identification cards. The Philippine Postal Corporation, or PhilPost, says a total of 193,823 national identification cards have been delivered to low-income families who registered since last year. The Philippine Statistics Authority says those who have not yet received their cards may have been flagged as they need to undergo manual verification, or the card may not have passed the quality checks and needs reprinting. It could also be that their card is included in another batch for delivery. In the Ilocos region, a total of 312,526 national ID cards have been delivered so far. The number includes return to sender due to either the registrant having passed away or has moved out of his or her residence. Ilocos region has so far recorded a total of 2.5 million registrants in the PhilSys Step 2. PSA Pangasinan Chief Statistical Specialist Edgar Norberte said they target to register over 2.2 million in Pangasinan to attain the 100% PhilSys registration before the year ends. And in Bulacan, the PSA aims to register more Bulaceños by opening its national ID registration site at SM City, Marilao. This is to provide an accessible and safe space for the Step 2 biometric process applicants. The PSA encourages the public to first book an appointment and enlist at their website to maintain physical distancing measures in the registration site. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Marita Muahe.
Establishments defying health and safety protocols may face revocation of their safety seals and will have their business permit suspended. This as many restaurants and indoor establishments are failing to check the vaccination status of their customers, while others ignore the allowed indoor and outdoor capacity.
So, ang DILG po sa pamamagitan ni Secretary Eduardo Año ay nagbibigay ng babala or warning sa lahat ng mga business establishments na hindi sumusunod sa mga minimum public health standards at hindi nagre-require ng mga vaccination card para makapasok sa mga establishments. At sa mga establishmento pong mapapanood na yung hindi sumusunod sa mga pulisiyang ito ay pwede pong ma-revoke ang kanilang safety seal. No? Pag na-revoke po ang safety seal na ibinigay sa inyo ng issuing authority, ay mawawala po yung inyong additional 10% additional capacity, operational capacity. At kung meron pong tinatawag na repeated violations, ay ang DILG na po mismo ang magre-rekomenda ng suspension ng inyong business permit.
Presidential Advisor for Entrepreneurship Joey Concepcion has reminded business establishments to uphold minimum public health standards despite the easing of alert level systems in some parts of the country. This as the country's positivity rate last November 12 rose to 5.5%, which is higher than the recommended 5% level by the World Health Organization. Concepcion said that although the slight uptick is expected due to more mobility of people, complacency will be the country's enemy as it moves towards overcoming the pandemic. He urged business owners to always adhere to safety protocols as they are hoping that Metro Manila will shift to Alert Level 1 by next month. About 17,000 to 20,000 more workers are needed in the construction industry under the Build program. This as the Department of Public Works and Highways in Baguio City targets to finish their projects before the Duterte administration ends next year. DPWH Secretary Roger Mercado said more technical persons, masons, laborers, and others will be needed in the program, including the maintenance of roads. So far, infrastructure projects in the region are currently at 67%. More stories from the newsroom. An appeal from down south, a governor cites the importance of the NTF-LCAC in bringing peace and development. And enriching minds, a pop-up library in Ilocos Norte attracts those who are young and even the young at heart. Back after a quick break, stay with the PNA Newsroom.
Ito ang Fast 5. Mayroon tayong 5 minuto para tanungin ang mga eksperto tungkol sa COVID-19.
Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Ana Ong Lim and I'm with the DOH Technical Advisory Group.
Anong mga sintomas ng COVID-19 ang pwede i-treat sa bahay?
So napakagandang tanong. Ang mga mild symptoms, pinakakaraniwan pa rin siya sa mga nararamdaman ng mga taong nagpa-positive sa COVID-19. Kasama na dito yung lagnat, ubo, sipon, pananakit ng katawan, yung iba nagtatae. Pinaka-importante talaga is bantayan yung hirap sa paghinga kasi once sumumpong na yon, hindi na natin pwedeng sabihin mild and definitely kailangan na siguro na makita sa ospital o makita ng kanilang doktor.
Paano natin malalaman kung pwede tayo mag-home isolation?
Magandang mapag-usapan ng home isolation kasi lalo na ngayon, no, maraming mga taong nasa mga TTMFs or quarantine facilities or even sa hospital. And for as long as yung ating pamamahay ay may sariling lugar or isang silid na kung saan pwedeng mamalagi yung may sakit, and mas maganda rin sana na may sarili siyang magagamit na banyo.
Ano naman ang pwede kong gawin kung meron akong lagnat?
Ang lagnat ng COVID is not any different kumpara dun sa lagnat na nadala ng ibang sakit. Kino-consider natin na may lagnat ng isang tao pagka ang kanyang temperatura ay 37.5 pataas. Now, typically, kung meron tayong lagnat, iniinuman lang naman natin to ng paracetamol. Karaniwan, isang tableta tuwing ika-4 hanggang ika-6 na oras.
Ano naman ang home treatment para sa sore throat?
Ang sore throat, karaniwan, ginagamot lang natin yan using supportive care. So tulad na lang ng saline gargles or pagmumog, no, ng water na may konting asin, o kaya pwede ring gumamit ng mga menthol preparations or menthol candies para lang medyo maibsan yung pananakit ng lalamunan.
Ano naman ang warning signs ng paglala ng mga sintomas?
Ang pinaka-importanting bantayan sa mga simptomas na lumalala na related to COVID-19 is really yung hirap sa paghinga. Pwede rin yun na rin na magdala nung confusion. Pwede rin yung mga simptomas tulad ng sobrang panghihina kasi halos hindi na makakain, hindi makainom, no? So yung mga ganong klaseng signs, kailangan siyang masubaybayan ng healthcare professional.
Paano ko naman maiiwasang mahawaan ang mga kasama ko sa bahay?
Pinaka-importante dun sa iisipin natin pag tayo nag-isolate is dapat talaga nakabukod tayo sa ibang tao. So, dun lang tayo sa ating silid, dun na tayo kakain, hindi na tayo lalabas hanggang makatapos ng 10 araw. Now, kung tayo naman ay nasa isang lugar na shared bathroom pa rin ang ating ginagamit, sana yung surfaces ng banyo, tulad nung yung doorknobs, yung faucet, yung pinaka-surface ng lababo, at saka yung pinag-upuan natin sa inidoro, pupunasan muna natin yan bago natin iwanan ng banyo para yung susunod na gagamit, hindi naman mahawaan ng ating mga secretions o yung mga tilamsik ng ating laway kung sakasakalit naman ay tayo ang gumamit ng banyo.
Sino po ang pwedeng kausapin kung may karagdagang mga tanong pa ako?
Maraming resources sa ating mga communities at napakaraming health workers na handang tumulong. No? So unang-una na siguro doon yung ating mga BHERTs, no? Sila naman ay naabisuhan, o yung mga midwives or nurses sa ating community, even our local health center physicians, they're always ready to help us with our questions.
Maraming salamat, Doc Ana. May mga paalala pa po ba kayo?
Karamihan pa rin naman sa mga kababayan natin nagpa-positive for COVID ay nabibilang dun sa mild and asymptomatic category. So, mukha namang kaya, no? Most of the time, nababantayan itong ating mga kapamilya within the home. Ang importante lang, siguro, habang maaga, meron ng link to telemedicine o kaya nakausap natin yung ating mga barangay or community healthcare workers para kung sakasakalit medyo lumala yung lagay ng ating kapamilya ay nakaset up na kung anong susunod nating gagawin. Maraming salamat sa inyong lahat and mag-ingat po tayo.
Bida Solusyon Plus laban sa COVID-19.
Davao Oriental Governor Nelson Dayanghirang called on the Senate to restore the proposed 24 billion peso budget of the National Task Force on Ending Local Communist Armed Conflict, or NTF-LCAC. The Senate Finance Committee has earlier decided to slash the budget of the NTF-LCAC to 4 billion pesos. Dayanghirang said the NTF-LCAC's Barangay Development Program has changed the landscape of the barangays that were once layers of the new People's Army.
Sana naman sa ating mga mahal na mga senator, no? Huwag niyong ipagdamot ang development, ang kapayapaan upang maangkin na natin ang tunay na kapayapaan dito sa ating mahal na bansa.
Tourists have long been flocking to Camiguin for its white beaches, springs, waterfalls, dive site, and sweet lanzones. Of late, another attraction is added to the must-see list of visitors, a rare and endangered species of bats. The bats are called golden brown flying foxes or kabug in the Visaya language. The bat species is considered the largest in the Philippines. Camiguin's bats are roosting in trees in the towns of Catarman. Residents say that a colony of about 200 bats first settled in Barangay Poblacion. The Provincial Environment and Natural Resources Office estimates that there are now more than 500 members of the colony. The local government of Catarman is to put up a view deck where tourists can safely observe the bats. The Department of Tourism asked the local government units to simplify their entry requirements. This as some tourists in Boracay are said to have missed their flights for failing to get required QR codes on time. The DOT has reached out to the concerned LGUs and appealed to simplify the travel requirements for visitors. It said streamlining services for tourists is a vital component in ensuring the recovery of the island's tourism industry. In Lawag City, a pop-up library has become an attraction to seniors and kids. The library has widely read Ilocano magazines, pocketbooks, and children's books, among others. The mobile library has earlier popped up in several spots of the province, including the Ilocos Norte Provincial Jail. However, it was temporarily stopped following the surge of COVID-19 cases in the province. But with a steady decrease of cases, the provincial library has resumed its pop-up library as it hopes to expand in various parts of the province. Grace Justo, a staff of the Provincial Library, said they also conduct storytelling among children at the park and provide free reading materials to interested individuals. Let's take another look at today's biggest stories. Take heed and back off. The country's top diplomat fumes over the Chinese Coast Guard's usage of water cannons against 2 Filipino supply boats en route to the Ayungin Shoal earlier this week. The government allots up to 2 million COVID-19 vaccine doses for booster shots of healthcare workers in a bid to beef up their protection while caring for COVID-19 patients. The Commission on Elections rejects the bid of some 126 party groups to join next year's polls as it races against time to complete the list of candidates to appear in the official poll ballots. And off to a fresh start, another set of beneficiaries are set to return this time to Negros Oriental through the Balik Probinsya Bagong Pag-asa program. As Filipinos, we all have a vital role to play in preventing the spread of COVID-19. So remember, wear your face masks and face shields, wash your hands often, practice safe physical distancing, go out only for essential reasons, and get vaccinated as soon as possible to protect ourselves, our families, and the community. Together, we can beat COVID-19. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. For more news content, check our webpage or log on to the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also, watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And it is 37 more days to go before Christmas. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, we tell stories that inspire change. I am William Theo. Good day, everyone.